Hello, and welcome to Japanese craft beer reviews. Today we are going to look at a further beer from Schneider Weiss or Schneider & Sons, not a Japanese craft beer this time. We've looked at a few of their beers, such as their Crystal Weizen and their Aventinus, and their original Weiss beer, and today we're going to look at kind of the king of all of them. It's an unusual beer, and it's not so easily found, and it's called Aventinus Eisbock, Weizen Eisbock. And what this is the beer we reviewed in our last beer, which is Aventinus, which is a Doppelbock, 8.2%. This is an Eisbock made from that beer. And what happens in the case of an Eisbock is the beer is partially frozen, and what happens is when it becomes ice, it's the water that floats up and freezes before the alcohol, and that is removed and the process is repeated. So what happens is the base beer is concentrated in, and so it rises in alcohol. The water is skimmed off and then repeat, and then the alcohol content is increased. And this is increased all the way up to 12% beer, 15 IBUs. So this is similar to Deschutes makes a beer called Jubel, and they make it every decade. Actually, they made it in 2015. They broke their rule, but it was supposed to be every decade. And what happened was they found a keg of Jubel ale in the parking lot. Apparently a thief was trying to make off with it, and it was too heavy. They left it there and it froze, and they found that the ice came off and made a stronger beer. So they make a once a decade beer called Jubel, or Super Jubel. Same thing here. Apparently the current brewer at Schneider Weiss, the current head brewer, had heard a story of something similar happening in the 1930s at the Schneider Weiss brewery, where a keg was accidentally partially frozen during the winter, and they tasted the beer and found it, with the increased alcohol, it became something quite new and different. And so we have Aventinus Eisbock. In our last review, we mentioned this gentleman, Aventinus. He was apparently the first historian of the Bavaria region of Germany. And the original Schneider Weiss brewery was located on Aventinusstrasse in Munich. So that's where the name comes from. This beer has been aged a bit. You can see its best by date here is 2018, April. So it's about 2.5 years past its best by date. But again, beer with beers like this, it probably can go on for another 5 years, perhaps. Who knows? So I've been holding on to this for a while. On RateBeer, this one has an average, 2,711 ratings, an average score of 3.93, 99 for all beers on RateBeer, and 98 percentile for its style, which is Eisbock. And on Untapped, we have 57,699 ratings, an average score of 3.85. So a little bit lower than the RateBeer score. Usually the scores are not quite the same. Generally, for most beers, Untapped scores are higher, and RateBeer scores are lower. In some cases, I think with really exceptional beers, this could be my personal take on it, is that there's so many people on Untapped that a lot of them are not really big fans of beer, and so when something rather unusual comes around, they tend to score them a little bit lower than the RateBeer people do. But in any case, so both of them have pretty high scores here. Let's open this up. Not a puff out of the bottle. I've got my little Devilcraft double craft glass here, which I'm going to pour in a smaller glass because this is quite a big one, 12%. Okay, so we do have some carbonation still left in this. It is fairly dark. Just on the, I guess it is opaque, with a very dark kind of diminishing head. Put it to the light and see if we get anything going through. Just barely around the edges, so the body's pretty heavy there. You know, I mean, it's just a lot going on through the middle. Oh my, oh my. Okay, so this has very concentrated plums, raisins, dates, dark sugar. Alcohol fumes seem minimal for a 12%er. Clearly they're there, but it's not it's not going to knock you back. Very interesting. Okay, the fumes start coming out. I think as it warms up, it's going to become a little bit stronger with alcohol. Okay, again, massive dark fruit, sugared dark fruit, warming from the get-go. I mean, you feel this beer right away. Some spices, maybe cinnamon. Just dark fruit. It just takes over here. Warming as can be. You feel this beer going down. You feel it in your mouth, and you feel it all through. So this is a great beer to drink in the middle of winter. We're not there yet where I live, but in any case, wow. Okay, this is a real pleasure. A sipper. You know, this is not a beer to knock back, and I don't think you could do it if you even wanted to. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is stop here and then let it warm up a bit and try it as it warms up, you know. I was expecting some oxidation, but I don't get any of that here whatsoever. This is a marvelous beer, full of fruit, full of sweetness, full of alcoholic warmth. If you see a bottle of this on the shelf anywhere, no matter what it says on the back about the best by date, you know, pick this up and give it a try. This is, again, a bucket list beer, and if you like wheat beers, this is gonna, well, this is really gonna do it for you, I think. It's not really, I mean, you don't get the sense of the wheat so much. You get almost like a barrel sense. Really complex beer. I can't do it justice. Go out and get it for yourself and give it a go. Okay. All right, we're done with the beers from Schneider Weiss, Schneider and Sons, the wheat beer specialists out of Munich, and we're going to move on to some different beers in our next reviews. I hope you come along for that. Please subscribe to the channel and leave me a comment. Okay? Take care.